Chemistry. JAMB question. We are given a sample of substance containing only carbon and hydrogen, bonds in excess oxygen gas, to yield 4.4 gram of carbon dioxide and 2.7 gram of water. The empirical formula of the substance is. So when you take a look at this question, you observe that we are demanded to find the empirical formula. And from the information or the knowledge you have on the empirical formula is what? Percentage by mass of what? Elements that are present. Of course, you know what is empirical formula means. It is given as the ratio, the mole ratio of what? The individual elements present in a compound. But when you take a look at this question, you observe that it's kind of, you get? So we are not being given the mass of the elements present. Rather, we are given the mass that was yielded when this element is being born in excess oxygen, which is carbon dioxide and water. Therefore, what will you do? Firstly, to embark on this empirical formula, I must get the mass of carbon in 4.4 gram of carbon dioxide. And the same thing, the mass of hydrogen in 2.7 gram of water. How do I do so? I will apply percentage by mass of elements in a compound. And what is it? When you talk about percentage by mass, it is given as molar mass of that element over the molar mass of the compound. The element is times the mass of that element. Can I apply it now? I will have mass of carbon, C, to be equal to, what is the molar mass of the element carbon? 12. Over the molar mass of carbon dioxide is what? I will have carbon, 12, plus bracket. Molar mass of oxygen is 16, which is what? 16 times 2 atoms of oxygen, times the mass of carbon dioxide, 4.4 gram. Therefore, this will give me 12 over 16 times 2 is 32 plus 12 will give me 44 times 4.4, which will give me here to be 1.2 gram. So obviously, 1.2 gram of carbon is present in 4.4 gram of carbon dioxide. Applying the same thing over to the hydrogen, I will still have mass of hydrogen to be equal to, the mass of hydrogen is what? Molar mass of hydrogen is 1. The molar mass of water here will give me 1 times, that is mass of hydrogen, times 2 atoms of water, plus oxygen, which is 16, times the mass of water, which is 2.7. At this point, it will give me 1 over 1 times 2 is 2 plus 16 is 18. 18 times 2.7, which will give me here to be 0.3 gram when you calculate. At this point, I have now gotten the main problem, which is the mass of the individual element. We can now solve the empirical formula. Now, what is the empirical formula? If you could remember, I said it is the mole ratio of the individual elements present in a compound. Now, when you talk about the mole ratio, what is the mole ratio? We have the mole ratio as the percentage by mass of the what? Element over the molar mass of that element. So the mole ratio of the individual, which is carbon and what? Hydrogen. The mole ratio of carbon here will give me, what is the mass of carbon? I'm having 1.2 gram of carbon present. 1.2 gram over the molar mass of carbon, which is what? 12. Over to the hydrogen, I have in what? 0.3 over molar mass of hydrogen, which is 1. When you resolve this in your calculator, what will you have 0.1. And when you resolve this, 1 divide this will still give me 0.3. This is the mole ratio of carbon and hydrogen. Now, but empirical formula is the smallest or the simplest form of a compound. What does that mean? I will divide by smallest ratio here so that I can get the simplest form of this compound, which is the smallest ratio here is 0.1 and 0.1. When you divide this, I will have 1 is to. When you divide this one, I will have 3. So I'm having the ratio of 1 is to what? 3. Therefore, this means that I'm having 1 atoms of carbon and 3 atoms of hydrogen as the empirical formula of the substance. At this option A is the answer from here. Thank you, and don't fail to drop your question regarding to this. I will give more light on it.